Hi, my name is Walter, and this is a tutorial on how to take your true mirror out of shipping mode, which if you notice here, there's a big line in the middle there, and that line goes right through your eyes. See, it's going through the lens here. And we do that because there's a very precise alignment of those two mirrors at right angles, and there's only about a millimeter where they're actually sitting on top of each other. This is very special front surface glass mirror, so that's how we get that seam to be invisible, where the surface, the mirror reflective surface, is touching the other mirror. So there's two parts to this. The first is to actually take it out of shipping mode and then tighten that seam. So if you'll notice, when you take it out of the packaging, you see that big line. And if you come on the back, this is the back, you'll see that there's 12 adjusting or seam tightening screws there, and they're spring loaded. And the idea is you want to be able to put them together slowly to be able to get the mirrors aligned properly. So, and you also notice there's 4 shipping screws. See, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So what happens is first you have to take those shipping screws completely out and then store them right here where it says store shipping screws. Okay, so I'm going to take them out, and you want to take them out completely. Okay, so what you want to do is actually hold on to the screw while you're unscrewing it so that it doesn't fall inside. And once you have it, you store it over here in the section where it says store shipping screws here. Okay, and do this for all 4 screws going down the bottom. Now if for some reason screws falls into the back, you can open up the back with these screws that are here. But if you hang on to the screw while you're unscrewing it, you should be fine. Okay, so now that all 4 screws are there, we can start tightening up these screws. There's 12 of them that go up and down to top and bottom. And the real important thing here is to tighten them just to where the mirrors will meet and not to over tighten. In fact, what I like to do is tighten them so you can just barely see a seam, and then come back after all of them have tightened up and finish it off. Ultimately, your goal is to have that seam invisible. But just to make sure you don't over tighten it, bring it to a hairline first. So the way we do it is that, so I'm standing on the left side of the mirror, and I'm going to put the screw there. Sorry, it's a little hard with the camera. Okay, and then I'm going to come around to the front, and do you see, the camera is going to be right in that seam area because that's how the optics work. But see how you can see the black line there, right? We're going to tighten the one. I'm going to tighten the one at the top, and you'll see how that seam closes. So you want to do is put the screwdriver in the spot there, and then while you're turning it, watch what happens as the seam gets closer and closer. So at that point, you'll see it gets tighter and tighter. Again, don't tighten it all the way. Just tighten to where there's a little bit of hairline there. Okay? And then you go on to the next one. And you just slowly turn that while you're keeping an eye on that seam, not to make it go too tight. You'll see it looks black, and then as you get closer, that line almost disappears. You get to where it's just barely visible, and you go to the next one. Okay, and you go all the way down as you get that tighter and tighter. And one of the best ways to know if you've tightened it too much is if you just let it go a little bit, you'll see the seam appear briefly. So again, you go all the way down, top to bottom, and after it's all very close, See, it's hard for the camera to pick up that seam, but if I zoom in, you can just barely see it there. You see it just barely there. Okay? And then you're going to go all the way up and down as you go. You're going to go up and down. And then once the whole thing is at that level where the seam is just barely visible, then you're going to come back. And again, while you're watching, tighten that seam up. So you see how it is right there. I'm going to turn the knob at that position. To slowly tighten it up. Okay, you see there's no more black anymore. Now it's a little bit out of alignment, so you're going to see a little bit of a seam there, but it's not black. You're getting rid of the black, because later we're going to actually adjust for that. Okay, so you go all the way straight up and down. Okay, so this is what it looks like in practice. Basically, I'm going to be working with the seam up and down, and I'm going to go from one screw to the next, and I'm watching right there where the seam is. Now see where I'm at that screw, and I go to the next one. I get that to be in a hairline, and then the next one. So you know, you go back and forth. You put the screwdriver on the screw back there, and then you come and you watch while you're turning. So right there, I can see the seam, and as I'm turning, it gets slowly more and more visible. I've made it so it's just barely visible. Then I come back to the next one. And remember, this is the mirrors are very fragile. You're only sitting 1 millimeter on, so if you over tighten it, you can either chip it or introduce a bubble. And as long as if it's just a bubble, you can loosen it up. But don't do it too much, otherwise the chip is going to be very distracting. Okay, so pretty much I've gotten it close all the way up. Now I'm going to come back here and see where, like right there, I can still see the little black. So I'm going to come over here and tighten it, and if you tighten it very slowly, you'll see that line disappear. And that line is very important to make go away, because it goes right through your eyes. Okay, and that one. That's good, a little bit here. So you just go back and forth a few times, and what happens is that once you get it right, because it's been in shipping mode, right, you get that seam to be invisible, and then probably in about a week or so, you may have to tighten it up just a little bit. So wherever you see there's a little black right there, you tighten the screw at that position until it disappears. Okay? So, yeah, and a little bit more at the top. Just go slow. It's only like the top is just a little bit. It's like literally like maybe just a tenth of a turn, and all of a sudden it's visible. Okay? So now that we have it like this, we're going to adjust it. And the adjustment's important because ultimately that seam, we got rid of the gap in there, but now we actually want to make the angle perfect. And it's very hard to see with the camera, but if you move the camera back and forth, let me see if I can zoom in. There's kind of a shimmer. You see at the very top here, right at the top, in the background. See, there's kind of the image is not quite right. And so what you do is you have 5 adjusting knobs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down to the bottom. And that controls that section. So you have 5 adjusting knobs and it controls that section of the mirror. So if I have a slight bunching up there, I'm going to turn this knob until it's clear. Now you see I actually turned it too far. Now there's a split. See that split between the light and the dark line? Like right there. Okay? And that's what you're looking for. Things in the background. You see that split right there? What I'm going to do is tighten it up. And while I'm watching that split in the background, I keep turning it, and now it's gone. So that's working for this section of the mirror. Then I'm going to check down here and see, yeah, I've got a little bit of shimmer there. So I'm going to turn it to close it. So if you have a split, you want to turn it counterclockwise. If it's bunched up, you want to do it the other way, clockwise. So I go all the way down, and again, I'm watching this section of the mirror when I'm turning here. It's like it's adjusting that part. And then down here, turn that to be there. And then the final one, it's a little hard, but you have to use, you know, kind of the angle from the side. Again, you find something in the center that has kind of a shimmer, and you turn the knob until that goes away. Okay, then you come back up here and check. That one still looks good. That one's still good. And, you know, you may have to adjust it after you've adjusted the other ones. And then this one. This one. Okay. So now, now the image is actually clear, and it looks good from top to bottom. And the way you do it is you check. You get your up here and you run your eye from top to bottom. You go all the way down, and it should be a nice, smooth image. Now, if you see like a little bubble, like some place where it just pops out a little bit more, that means you've tightened the screw up a little bit too much. So at that point of the bubble, you would go back to the screw and loosen it a little bit until you see a slight gap, and then just turn it slightly to make that gap disappear. Okay, so there's 2 parts. Take it out of shipping mode, tighten the seam, and then adjust it to make it perfect. That adjustment thing will change over the course of, if temperature changes a lot, or humidity, or barometric pressure, or just it decides to get out of alignment, and you just have to come over here and tweak those things on the right side. Okay, and if you have any questions, give me a call. I'll be happy to answer, and maybe do a Zoom session with you so that you know what you're doing. Okay, thanks so much. Appreciate it.